All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about something absolutely fundamental today, judicial independence. We all just kind of expect our judges to be impartial, right? But what actually guarantees their fairness? Let's take a look at the system that's supposed to make it all work and see if it actually does. Think about it like this. What if you were watching a game and you knew the referee secretly wanted one team to win? Suddenly, every single call they make looks suspicious, doesn't it? The whole game just feels rigged. Well, that's the exact same idea we're talking about with our justice system. Except here, the stakes are way, way higher than just a game. Fairness isn't just nice to have, it's everything. Okay, so what does fair justice even mean? To really get a handle on it, we've got to break it down into two core ideas. They might sound a bit alike at first, but trust me, they're designed to protect justice from totally different kinds of threats. So first up, you've got judicial neutrality. Think of this as what's going on inside a judge's head. It's all about them putting aside their personal feelings or political views and just ruling based on the law and the facts. Simple as that. Then you have judicial independence. This one is all about protecting judges from the outside. We're talking about pressure from the government, politicians, anyone who might try to influence their decisions. And look, this isn't just some dusty old legal textbook stuff. This stuff really, really matters. I mean, these principles are basically the guardrails of a democracy. Without them, there's nothing to stop a government from just doing whatever it wants. Your rights as a citizen could be at risk, and court rulings could just blow with the political winds or get swayed by whoever's shouting the loudest, instead of being based on, the actual law. So if these ideas are so crucial, how in the world do we protect them? Well, the best way to think about it is like we're building a fortress. A giant fortress all around our justice system, with the whole goal being to make it totally secure from any outside attacks. And every good fortress needs a blueprint, right? We're looking at the master plan for keeping our courts safe. It lays out all the key safeguards, the high walls, the deep moats that are designed to protect judicial independence. Everything from how we pick our judges in the first place to how we shield them from political heat. So let's walk through some of those key defenses. First, how do we choose judges? Well, back in 2005, the Judicial Appointments Commission was set up specifically to pull politics out of that process as much as possible. Then there's something called security of tenure. This is huge. It basically means judges can't be fired just for making a decision that's unpopular. They can only be removed for actual misconduct. What about money? Well, their pay is set by an independent body, so politicians can't threaten their paycheck to get a certain ruling. And finally, there's the sub judice rule. This stops politicians from, say, going on TV and trying to pressure a judge while a case is still going on. Each one of these is like another brick in the wall of that fortress. Okay, so the fortress is designed to be rock solid. The blueprint looks great, but how does it actually hold up in the real world? It's time to take a closer look and see if we can find any cracks in the foundation when these ideals clash with reality. Yeah, because even with all those defenses, all those walls and moats, you still have to ask the big question, is the system really neutral? What about the people inside the fortress? Are the judges themselves actually truly free from bias? And this is where things get complicated. On one side, the argument for neutrality is pretty solid. The system is definitely designed to keep politics out, and honestly, there's no smoking gun, no clear evidence that judges consistently favor one political party over another. But the arguments on the other side are pretty powerful too. Critics will immediately point out that the judiciary is pulled from a very, very narrow slice of society. Some politicians even claim the courts have a built-in liberal bias. And then you've got the fact that some of the top judges get a seat in the House of Lords after they retire, which raises some eyebrows about political influence down the line. You've probably heard the phrase used to describe this problem: male, pale, and stale. And look, the argument here isn't usually that judges are deliberately biased. It's more subtle. The idea is that if pretty much all your judges come from the same background, they might have the same blind spots. Their shared life experiences could subtly shape how they see the world and how they apply the law, even when they're trying their absolute best to be neutral. And there are numbers to back this up. For example, if you look at the Court of Appeal back in late 2017, just over a quarter of the judges were female. It really shows you just how slow the pace of change can be. So, after all that, where do we land? What's the final verdict on our justice system? I think the main takeaway is this: the system itself, the blueprint, is actually designed brilliantly for impartiality. That fortress we talked about, it's strong. The problem is it's run by human beings, And those humans, for the most part, come from a pretty narrow slice of society. And that creates this constant push and pull, this tension between the amazing ideal of blind justice and the messy reality of who actually gets to interpret the law. Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. In a world that feels more and more divided, is it even possible for justice to be completely separate from the politics and the people who create it? Something to chew on. Thanks for watching.